Imagine the most powerful king on earth, reduced to living like a wild animal, stripped of his royal garments, crawling on all fours and eating grass to survive. This is not a scene from a fictional tale but a real historical event that took place thousands of years ago. Picture a grand throne room, now empty and abandoned, with overgrown plants creeping through the cracks of the stone walls. The once bustling palace filled with advisors and courtiers now stands silent and deserted. This is the true story of King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon, who for 7 long years roamed the fields eating grass and living as a beast. His transformation from a mighty ruler to a wild man is one of the most dramatic tales in history. Nebuchadnezzar was once a builder of wonders and a conqueror of nations. He constructed the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and expanded his empire to unprecedented heights. Yet, his downfall is one of history's most dramatic. What could drive a king to madness? Was it the weight of his own power, the pressure of his responsibilities, or something more mysterious and divine? The story of Nebuchadnezzar's descent into madness is a profound lesson about the fragility of the human mind. Nebuchadnezzar's story is a profound lesson about pride, power, and the forces that humble even the mightiest. His tale serves as a reminder that no matter how powerful one becomes, there are forces beyond our control that can bring us to our knees. Our journey begins not in the wilderness, but in the heart of Babylon, where pride took root and set the stage for a king's fall. The bustling streets, the majestic Ishtar Gate, and the grandeur of the city all played a part in the rise and fall of Nebuchadnezzar. Let's uncover the mystery behind the madness of King Nebuchadnezzar, a tale that still fascinates and humbles us today. Join us as we delve into the history, the psychology, and the legacy of a king who lost everything, only to find a deeper understanding of his own humanity. Before his fall, Nebuchadnezzar II was a self-made emperor, a man whose very name would echo through the corridors of history. Born the son of Nabopolassar, a usurper who seized the Babylonian throne, Nebuchadnezzar inherited not just a kingdom, but a legacy of ambition and struggle. From a young age he was thrust into a world of political intrigue and warfare, learning quickly that power was never given, it was taken, forged in the fires of conflict and sharpened by relentless will. Nebuchadnezzar rose to prominence as a brilliant military strategist, leading his armies to victory after victory. He was not content to simply defend his borders, he sought to expand them, pushing the limits of his empire with every campaign. His conquests were swift and decisive. He crushed rivals, subdued rebellious cities, and brought vast territories under Babylonian control. Among his most famous victories was the conquest of Jerusalem, a feat that sent shockwaves across the ancient world and cemented his reputation as a formidable ruler. With each triumph, Nebuchadnezzar redrew the map of the ancient world, reshaping the political landscape of Mesopotamia and beyond. Borders shifted, kingdoms fell, and Babylon rose as the unrivaled superpower of its age. His vision was not limited to war, he dreamed of a city that would stand as a testament to his greatness for generations to come. To realize this vision, Nebuchadnezzar embarked on an ambitious building program, transforming Babylon into a city of wonders. He ordered the construction of the magnificent Ishtar Gate, adorned with vibrant blue tiles and images of mythical beasts, a gateway that dazzled all who entered. The city's skyline was dominated by soaring ziggurats and perhaps the legendary Hanging Gardens, an engineering marvel that became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Nebuchadnezzar's wealth was unmatched, his word absolute, and his pride boundless. He surrounded himself with treasures, courtiers, and monuments to his own glory. Nebuchadnezzar saw himself as the architect of Babylon's splendor, the chosen steward of the gods, and the living embodiment of his people's destiny. He believed his rule was divinely ordained, that the gods themselves had placed the scepter in his hand. Yet this towering self-importance, this unshakable belief in his own greatness, would ultimately become his undoing. The seeds of his downfall were sown in the very soil of his triumphs. To truly understand Nebuchadnezzar's fall, we must first grasp the immense scale of his power. A man who believed he was the center of the universe, whose every decision shaped the fate of nations, and whose pride soared higher than the walls of Babylon itself. But in the end, it was this very pride that set him on a collision course with a force greater than any king, a lesson written in the ruins of empires and the silence of fallen thrones. Nebuchadnezzar's arrogance reached new heights when he built a colossal golden statue, demanding all officials worship it or face death in a blazing furnace. This was more than political loyalty, it was a demand for religious devotion, placing his authority above all. 3 Hebrew captives, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to bow, defying the king's absolute command. Their faith put them in direct conflict with Nebuchadnezzar, who ordered them into the furnace. This was a showdown between the king's proclaimed power and a higher, unseen authority. Nebuchadnezzar was determined to prove no god could deliver anyone from his hand. But the seeds of doubt and humility were being sown. Nebuchadnezzar's confidence was shaken by a haunting dream, a vision of a colossal tree, nourishing all life, suddenly cut down by a heavenly messenger. The tree symbolized his vast power and the prosperity of his empire. But the dream turned dark. The tree was destroyed, its stump left bound in the field, destined to live among beasts and eat grass. The message was clear, a prophecy of a king stripped of his glory and humanity. Nebuchadnezzar sensed the dream's warning, but its full meaning eluded him. The vision was not just about greatness, but about the fragility of power and the certainty of reckoning. The stage was set for a dramatic fall. Troubled, Nebuchadnezzar summoned Daniel, who revealed the truth. The tree was the king himself, and the dream foretold his downfall. Daniel urged him to humble himself, show mercy, and recognize a higher authority, offering a path to redemption. For a year, nothing happened. The king's pride remained unshaken. Then, as Nebuchadnezzar boasted over Babylon's splendor, a voice from heaven declared his fate sealed. In an instant, his mind broke, his royal authority stripped away. The prophecy was about to be fulfilled in the most dramatic way possible. The king who thought himself invincible was about to lose everything. Nebuchadnezzar's mind snapped. In a single shattering moment, the mighty king who once commanded empires was overtaken by madness. The world he had built, his palaces, his gardens, his armies, became distant memories, slipping away like sand through his fingers. The weight of his pride, the arrogance that had once fueled his rise, now dragged him into a darkness from which there was no escape. The mighty king became a wild man, driven from his palace to live among the beasts. He ate grass, tearing it from the earth with trembling hands, his royal robes now tattered and stained. The fields became his home, the animals his only companions. Each day, he wandered further from the world of men, his mind lost in a haze of confusion and fear. His hair grew like eagle's feathers, wild and tangled, untouched by comb or blade. The wind whipped it into strange shapes, and it became a symbol of his fall from grace, a crown of shame replacing the golden diadem he once wore. His nails, once manicured and adorned with rings, grew long and twisted, curling like the claws of a bird. He dug in the soil for food, his hands caked with dirt, his humanity erased by the relentless passage of time and suffering. For 7 years he wandered the fields, a living symbol of pride brought low. His transformation was total, no longer a man of reason or dignity, but a creature of instinct, surviving on the edge of civilization. The once mighty ruler was now a shadow, haunting the wild places where no one dared to follow. From ruler of empires to a creature of instinct, Nebuchadnezzar's fall was absolute. He crawled on all fours, his body hunched and broken, his mind a storm of memories and regrets. The world he had known was gone, replaced by a harsh new reality. Stripped of dignity and reason, he became a figure of pity and fear. His eyes, once sharp with ambition, now stared blankly at the horizon, searching for meaning in a world that had turned its back on him. The spectacle was both terrifying and humbling. Onlookers watched from a distance, unable to reconcile the wild man before them with the king they once revered. Whispers spread through the city, tales of the mighty Nebuchadnezzar reduced to a beast, a living warning to all who witnessed his fate. A king reduced to less than a common man, ignored by those who once bowed before him. He slept in the open, exposed to the elements, his only shelter the tall grass and the shadows of the trees. Even the animals seemed to sense his broken spirit, keeping their distance as he wandered among them. Ancient texts call this boanthropy, a rare and mysterious affliction where a man believes himself to be an animal. But for Nebuchadnezzar it was more than madness. It was a living prophecy, a punishment foretold by the wise men and scribes of his court. For Nebuchadnezzar, it was a prophesied judgment. Each day as he gazed at the sky, he was reminded of the warning he had ignored, the price of pride, the cost of defying the divine. Every day in the wild was a reminder of the power that had humbled him. The rising and setting sun marked the passage of time. Each dawn a new chance for reflection, each dusk a reminder of all he had lost. The king who sought to be a god was now less than a man. His story became a legend, a cautionary tale of hubris, humility, and the mysterious forces that shaped the fate of kings. Nebuchadnezzar's disappearance sent shockwaves through Babylon. A council of regents likely kept the empire running, hiding the king's madness from the public and rivals. The people felt his absence. Rumors swirled, uncertainty grew, but the kingdom endured. The prophecy's stump remained, the throne preserved, waiting for the king's return. Babylon's survival proved its strength was not in one man, but in something greater. The 7 years became a lesson for all. Power is fragile, and no ruler is untouchable. The empire held its breath, awaiting the king's fate. After 7 years, Nebuchadnezzar looked up to the heavens, a simple act of surrender and humility. In that moment, his sanity returned. The wild man became a king once more. He praised the Most High, acknowledging a power greater than his own. His throne and honor were restored, but he was changed, humbled, wiser, and grateful. Nebuchadnezzar issued a decree, not demanding worship but sharing his story of pride, madness, and redemption. He proclaimed the justice and supremacy of the divine, warning that those who walk in pride will be humbled. The king who once boasted of his own greatness now used his power to spread a message of humility. His ordeal had transformed him, and his kingdom. Nebuchadnezzar's madness is more than a strange tale. It's a timeless lesson about pride, power, and the human condition. His fall shows that no achievement or glory is immune to the dangers of arrogance. The story blurs the line between psychological and spiritual, reminding us how fragile our reality can be. Ultimately, it's a story of redemption. True greatness comes from humility and recognizing forces beyond ourselves. Nebuchadnezzar emerged wiser, using his experience to teach others. His journey echoes through history, a warning to the proud, a comfort to the humble. If you're fascinated by stories that challenge our understanding of history and the mind, subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of the past.